Welcome everyone to another one of these SEA Games group stage replays. This time is a completely different set, hence that 1 day break. But big shout outs to one of the players who sent these games in, so we are gonna get a clearer picture of all of those unstreamed games in the first place. But now, introducing here on the bottom right on this blue Zerg, we do got Tran, aka MeomaikA of Vietnam. And his opponent on the top left, he's been at the top of that Malaysia scene, that's for sure. Always scouting the waste. It's gonna be Kun, aka Malaysia's Ranger, on that red Protoss. So big shoutouts to Ranger, guys, especially the fact that he was able to send in a number of replays concerning the lower bracket final. So we'll be able to see his whole journey along the way, just trying to see the paths that the sides took to get to that lower bracket final. Eventually, of course, he will fall to Blisk, who did move on to go all the way to that second place. But enough about that. Let's talk about the game here and now on this group stage. So first game out of 3 potentially in this BO3 group stage. Pretty simple. You're able to get points from map wins as well as matches. Anyway, though, we did see a while ago MeomaikA going for that extractor trick yet again, always a standard for him. Gets a little bit of that extra drone action quickly, using that to get some more minerals along the way, earlier Zerglings as well. In the meantime though, Nexus points a second one here for Ranger. We'll be trying to expand on Triton. We haven't really been able to talk about the map so far, but Triton, easy wall in here, just set out on the natural, use that high ground to your advantage, and stay on the opposite side. You can use Stalkers as well as Adepts, put that Zealot in the way to prevent any Zerglings from running on in. In the meantime though, MeomaikA going for a second base already with his pool first opening. Gonna be standardizing as well with 4 Zerglings along the way, running forward and around. The probe really going for the chase. Will the worker catch up to this one? Here comes the 1v1 potentially. MeomaikA getting that micro on going as well. But in the meantime, seems like the Zealot not really paying attention too much. Gonna get micro just a little bit. The probe bringing in the mayhem. And here comes the Zerglings on the inside already. Unfortunately, here on Triton, quite a large wall area to try and ascertain. So instead, we do get the Adept in position. Probes are pulled to try and protect. Psionic transfer to get on the other side. Zealot's still there, but overall, already some hampering done by MeomaikA. Good cleanup here and now, courtesy of Ranger. Unfortunately, he does lose 3 probes along the way, and Overlord's able to have a conference here up on top. Will they be able to scout out the oncoming Stargate? But by this point in time, he already knows that there is a pylon ready to go, so there should be a main base building waiting at the wings at one point or the other. In the meantime, Stalker now coming on up. You need a little bit of that range action to deal with this upcoming Overlord. And yes, coming closer and closer to that Nexus point. Gonna be able to see that Stargate along the way. Looking to try and get position, perhaps with some Queens, maybe some creep spread. Gonna help out MeomaikA just a little bit. But here we go with the double Adept opening already. Looking to deal with this third base. Gonna see the hatchery trying to transform. And into the natural we go, the Shades want to get in position to that line all the way in the back. Certainly still with the surround. And good positioning here. And now courtesy of MeomaikA, the Ranger. That one Adept quite low already. Already one kill, but both of them brought back to higher. And not the best opening here. And now courtesy of Ranger, you will be forced to play defensive in this scenario. Now since the Adepts unable to really get any value, the wall now is going to be complete. That's one Zealot will work as hard as possible to block off the approach. And that Stalker just in case any of the other buildings are on their attack. Anyway, here goes MeomaikA right now, trying to bust through this one Zealot. Still though, we are going to see a warp on into that Sentry. And overall, even though the Zealot might fall, there's the Force Field, but it's a little too late to save Mr. Bob. Anyway though, here we go with the Oracle coming online courtesy of Ranger. Gonna go start things off with the double Oracle stats opening. No Phoenix in this scenario, so we'll be looking to try and focus on those workers instead of bothering the Queen anytime soon. And here we do see a transition for courtesy of MeomaikA. 3 base into a Spire, looking to be some Mutalisk play on to this natural. He is already on Lairtech as well. But interesting enough, no Evo Chamber as of yet. The only thing he has right now is 20 Zerglings running around the map, keeping map control going. And oh, what is this? Very cheeky here from Mr. MeomaikA, sending in one of the Overlords already. The thing about Triton, you can load them on that third base and just lift them up all the way. Still though, does Ranger see this coming? It's at the edge, it's at the tip! And he sees a little bit of that different model. Every time you get Ventral Sacks on those Overlords, they look a little different. And the Oracle gonna be used for the defense instead. Good warp in though, in the way of the Zerglings trying to run into the middle line. Good positioning with Pylon as well as that gateway. And it's time for the Pulsar Beam to clean on up. 2 pros do go down. But overall, cleanup crew is a go. Never mind though. Oh, the Zealot out of position. And here comes more Zerglings on the inside. Still, the Oracle already with 2 kills from that second base perhaps. And coming on back to clean up the infestation. And overall, Ranger does have a good composition to try and deal with this. He has 3 Oracles running around with Pulsar Beams, of course. Did he just shoot his Nexus? But of course, with the new changes, I mean, it's not really the newest changes. You can see it does struggle a little bit to try and take aim. People might say it's a little bit of an exploit, but now you can say it's still more fair for the Oracle. But anyway, here and now for our third base, Tran desperate to try and get that Spore Crawler just to protect. And he is going to go for +1 flyers on the way already. 3 Muteless are going to be the starting points. And think note, MeomaikA doesn't really have much of this gas resource in the back. Only going to be on 3 gas rather so far. Hasn't really fully invested into this one. So instead, transitioning into Roach Tech, just in case he needs something a little bit more tanky to take care of the ground alongside the Muteless. The Muteless, of course, going to be very, very pesky against the worker line, but the Oracles existing into the 4s. It's 2 pairs of greens. It seems like 2 pairs of a pod. And this might be green beans running to that main base. Honestly, pretty scary here for the workers. We'll see how Ranger is going to play this out. He's already going for the Twilight Council as well as an Immortal to boot back home. And here comes the green beam yet again. Dr. Botnik might be proud of that one. As 2 drones do go down. Spore Crawler though and Queen dissuading that one. And in the meantime, sure, Tran does have good control of the ground with those Zerglings running in, out, and around. But with these Oracles flying up and above, it's just a little scary here and now for MeomaikA to actually transition to try to leave the bases alone with just Spore Crawlers. We'll see though how this is going to pan out as another attack here and now courtesy of MeomaikA onto that natural base, sending in that first wave of Muteless, but no, the Stalkers already in position. We see a warp in as well onto that main base, and good micro here and now from Ranger. He has these Stalkers in control group so far, and oh, 9 probes do go down though, unfortunately. It's not the best result apparently for our Protoss player. Anyway, here we go yet again with the Oracles spotting this one out. It's gonna turn on those Pulsar Beams, looking to cook things up on the ground. Muteless though desperate to try and get some hits onto the shield play. In the meantime, Zerglings on the outside. And now looking at the SimCity that the Protoss does have, we have our Robo Facility. We are going to get that Twilight Council as well, ready to go on that main base. We have 1 Phoenix, good for the Graviton Beams against the Queens, as well as cleaning up Overlords in, out, and around the map. Anyway though, that Muteless also going to be a good target for that Phoenix. But good force fields there from Ranger, protecting more or less the bulk of the army. But unfortunately, the Zealots cannot run onto the other side. Still though, with the range advantage from the Stalkers as well as the Sentries, using those force fields pretty well, forcing Tran to back on. Now it's, oh, supply block as well. But in the meantime though, we have seen a transition here and now from MeomaikA. They decided, okay, I don't think Mutas are going to work. They're not going to be able to do as much damage as I would hope. He already got value with that first volley onto a good number of probes a while ago. But overall, transitioning to this Roach, potentially Ravager composition, maybe Hydralisk later on, might be in the cards in this scenario. I would love to see him actually lift one of these roaches up, just to be cheeky. But it's so completely unnecessary. Pulsar Beam, of course, not very strong against these armored units. Instead, they're going to be keeping an eye out just in case. Speaking of an eye out, though, does Ranger know that this is coming? Corruptors are looking to be played into the field, of course, with that Spire Tech and that Lair going to be enabling the tech at any point in time. Anyway, though, here we go with the attack yet again. Roaches coming from the right-hand side, forcing a Warp Cycle. And every time though that you force a Warp Cycle from Protoss and decide to attack on another front, it does displace their army unless the recall is ready to go. And you can really see the speed that these players are making these decisions, trying to find attacks, angles of engagement. Anyway, those just the Oracles are absolute stalkers. They really just want to chase these roaches all the way in. 4 bases ready to go though. Observer is into play. Corruptors are spotted as well. There you go with the revelation. Just to try and get a little bit of that army information. Unfortunately, they didn't really hit any of those roaches in the first place. But now it's time to see the transition. But MeomaikA sending in this first wave of roaches. Not the best attack so far. Onto that natural wall we go. Corruptors up in the air yet again. And oh no, Ranger might get caught here. It caught between a rock, a hard place. Roaches all around. Forced to try and protect. But these roaches are perfectly in range in this scenario. Stalkers on the right-hand side. And this is a big number of acid spitters along the way. Here we go with the pulsar beam. And Ranger caught with his pads down. Not the best spot here and now. Graviton beam on the Immortal to try and save the armored units. And that Immortal gonna be good DPS in the back, but there we go with the Cascade already. I haven't seen much Warp Prison Micro here and now on this game for Ranger. Instead, he decided to go for the Graviton Micro. Still, though, too many roaches to deal with. Oracle's doing absolutely nothing. Corruptors in the air as well, cleaning up the supports. And just not the best attack there, not the best defense rather, from Ranger. He was caught completely in the middle. Force fields aren't gonna help if you're not able to use that range advantage or able to cut any of the DPS away in the first place. Good blink doll onto the top left, trying to hide behind the middle of the line, gets on out at the same time. And this third base will go down in this instance. So much control here and now for our Blue Zerg. And Ranger in such a bad spot. 28 army to 105. Almost times 2 in that worker. Tanks that 4 base Cascade courtesy of MeomaikA. And now High Templars into the fray yet again. Archon's trying to morph out in front. But the wall is open. The blue balls do go down. And the roaches marching on in. Warp cycle. Desperation for the Zell to try and protect. But it seems like this game is going to be over quite soon. 13 army to 98. GG is called. And MeomaikA takes that win. So well done to Tran taking that one, finding the opportunity. It was a little awkward there from Ranger though. He already saw that first wave. Was that a bait and switch there from MeomaikA? It looks like you could say it could have been, but it really seems like he just attacked a little too early, or was it? You know, MeomaikA is always the brain cells on this guy a little too high up in the first place. Maybe it was all part of the show. But then again, Ranger could have positioned a little better as soon as that attack wave was coming. He got the revelation on, so he knew an army was coming. So might have been a mismicro there. Force fields sure gonna be protecting them, but still the range of the roaches are enough to get close. The force fields tried to go for the push, it just wasn't enough. And apparently roaches without Ravagers are good enough for MeomaikA to take that win. So that was game number 1 of this series. What a match it has been. See you guys in the next one.